welcome to Indiescovery, the indie gaming podcast brought to you by Rock Paper Shotgun. I'm one of your hosts, Rebecca Jones, joined today by my two very sleepy co-hosts, Rachel Watts.
Hello.
And Liam Richardson.
Hi.
Very sleepy.
Bit of vocal fry for you there.
Wow.
Liam and Rachel just got back from PAX East in Boston like a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, and they're still a bit jet lagged. So we're going to try and keep this one short and sweet as much as we ever do. It's Friday afternoon and I'm sure that they're both looking forward to spending the weekend getting some well-deserved shut-eye. So, we'll try not to record for like 2.5 hours like we usually do. We'll see how we go.
Yes.
I don't trust us. I think we will.
I think we will, but I just want to start out with acknowledging that I'm trying to look out for you guys. I'm trying to be a good co-host, make you go home at an appropriate time. But yeah, we're all here now. We're all back in the same time zone, all feeling very Friday-ish, so we'll see what the energy's like on this one, I guess. So yeah, of course, today I really want to ask you guys loads of questions about the things you saw at PAX. I was following your posts while you were there. Saw loads of really cool indies that I really can't wait to ask you more questions about. But first I thought we'd just have a little chat because last night, as at the time of recording, were the BAFTA Game Awards. And I'm sure we all have thoughts, feelings, opinions.
Yes.
Try not to get too salty about them. But yeah, so it wasn't a huge night for indies, which obviously for us is a little disappointing. Loads of our favourites were nominated, but not many managed to knock Elden Ring and God of War from the winning spots. For a lot of things, they kind of won pretty big. Special mention I want to make to my personal Game of the Year 2022, which was Stray, which were the second most nominations, actually more nominated than Elden Ring, and then didn't win anything, which is
really
sad.
did it?
Didn't win anything.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
It was one more than Elden Ring and like 8 or 10 less than God of War, because God of War was nominated for everything it could possibly be nominated for at least once, sometimes up to 4 times. So, yes, there was, there were good things. There was some nods there to Citizen Sleeper and I Was a Teenage Exocolonist, which were nice to see. They didn't win anything, sadly. Tunic and Rollerdrome did manage to briefly fend off the big boys. Good for them. But the big indie upset, and the one that I was very pleased to see, was obviously Vampire Survivors, getting 2 awards, including Best Game. And that was RPS's Game of the Year last year. So I'm excited now because I feel like we're the like indicator award. Like in, there's some award, isn't there, that they say, if it gets this, then it's going to get Best Picture at the Oscars. And I'm now in the hopes that it's the RPS Game of the Year that is going to be that in the future for the BAFTAs. I like to believe it.
I was under no doubt that we were absolutely correct by putting Vampire Survivors above Elden Ring. The second it made people salty.
Yeah, I mean, those are my big thoughts. I don't know if you guys, Liam, I know that you had thoughts that maybe didn't gel with mine so much.
Well, did you say that Stray was your top pick?
Stray was my top pick, yeah. My personal top pick. I'm not saying I'm right, it's just I enjoyed it a lot.
I appreciate everything Stray's doing, it just wasn't for me. Is the non-spicy... I mean, the spicy takers, I thought it was really dull, to be completely honest.
Wait, so hold on, you hate cats then, confirmed?
Well, so this is my thing,
spicy.
Right? Yes. No.
This is the spice.
Where's Shari?
she's right next to me and I'm terrified.
We actually have Shari next door. Will you come in, Shari?
Oh my God. The first hour of Stray is great because it sort of presents this version of a cat that has its own autonomy, and you're sort of controlling this animal, but you're controlling it within the confines of how a cat would behave in the real world. So you're sort of like, platforming to follow your little cat friends. And then when you get down into the underground world where the robots are, I really liked how you were sort of just like bumbling around and just accidentally sort of like walking into these story beats. And then you get a robot and it's like, okay, we'll go do some fetch quests. And the cat seems to understand what it's doing and understands the robot. And it just lost me at that point. I almost would have rather if the game was just about a cat who's just like going through this underground world and is just, the robots don't talk to you. There's not that interaction. A bit like how Limbo and Inside, you're never sort of directly involved in the actions of the world. You're just sort of there and traversing through it.
Yeah.
I didn't like how much it just became like I'm a cat and I'm going to get these items and talk to these robots and somehow people understand me, and I don't know. It just lost a lot of its momentum for me in that way, and I hated the bits with the enemies.
I did as well. Actually, to be absolutely fair, I think that Stray, definitely my game of the year 2022, but a little bit indicative of the fact that I didn't ever find a game that I loved in 2022. You know, I enjoyed it a lot. It was between that and Ghostwire Tokyo for my favourite, and both of those were games that I was like, these are like a solid 8 out of 10 for me. You know, there was nothing that I was like, I loved this so much for me last year, and they were both great games, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I didn't love the enemy chase bits. I found them a bit too stressful because I don't like to see a cat get killed.
I didn't like that either.
It's a game for people who love cats. I did think that was a bit of an odd choice that they made, and you're not the only person that I've heard make the criticism that they didn't quite gel with the story once the ability to once the robot companion came in and that element came in. I will say that from my point of view, I do think that they've learned to talk to cats. It's science magic, and the robots have spent decades learning to talk to cats in case one comes along, and I'm fine with that as an explanation.
But they didn't know who you were, though. They thought none of them know what you are.
Science magic.
They're just like, what are you? Oh, okay. You have literally got me there.
I know I do.
No, I like what it was doing. It just Vampire Survivors was, I thought, the best game. And I was happy to see it.
Fantastic to see it win. It was very vindicating on a personal and professional level, and I'm also obviously really pleased for them.
I honestly thought God of War would just steamroll like everything, and to a certain extent, it kind of did. But yeah, come on through, Vampire Survivors. I think they were surprised. The team were like completely gobsmacked.
Rachel, did you watch it live? Because I was watching it.
Yeah, I did.
On Twitch.
Did you? I didn't realize you both watched it live.
Yeah, I'm not famous enough to go to the studio, but I watched it on Twitch. And did you see the point where they won the Game Design Award, the first one that they won, and how far they had to run from the back of the auditorium?
Oh, really?
They had really sat the Vampire Survivors team way at the back, like in don't worry, you've not actually won anything seats. Yeah. And then they got best game. So
yeah, the God of War folks were like kind of halfway down.
Oh,
and
God,
then the Vampire Survivor and Endling was at the back as well. They were like, these games.
Wow.
The thing that I loved about it was that Christopher Judge was sat right on the end of his seat. And every time they got like a technical award for God of War, poor Christopher Judge is like shuffling into the aisle. Everyone's going past. And I'm like... and yeah,
that's really funny.
For that reason alone, I was glad that he won Best Performance. Just because
I was happy with that.
The number of times he's stood up for everyone else to get out of this row, he deserves. I mean, I'm a big fan of Christopher Judge, so I was really happy to see him win. But
me too.
Yeah, me too.
It was just really nice that he got to go on stage after all the time he spent standing up, hugging everyone as they went by, and then sitting back down and waiting.
Bless him.
Yeah. Also, they properly put that award near the end because I love Christopher Judge, but the man can talk for hours.
Did he reference the Game Awards speech?
He did. He went and he checked his watch when he got onto the stage, and everyone was really good.
That's really funny.
He's so honestly though. I said this at the Game Awards. Like obviously, 10 minutes is a long acceptance speech, but he's really charismatic. I could listen to the man talk.
Same.
Yeah, he seems like a really sound dude.
Yeah, so I'm not angry about it. You can keep talking.
No. Yeah, let's get him on the podcast.
I'd love
Christopher
that.
Judge, if you're listening to this.
Christopher Judge, do you do indie games? Because we kind of have a bit of a remit here, but do you like indie games? You don't have to.
We're not going to ask a single question about God of War. But
no.
If you've played Stardew Valley, come on.
Yes.
Who did you date in Stardew Valley?
Tell us who you dated in Stardew Valley, Christopher Judge.
Shane, get the fuck off, Christopher.
I think the BAFTAs, my biggest surprise was that Citizen Sleeper didn't win a single award, and that makes me sad.
I really thought it would get something.
I was sure it was going to get game beyond entertainment or like the social aspect game. And as much as I love Endling, like I reviewed it, I thought it was fine. That game about you're a wolf family, a fox family, and you're living through in a post-apocalyptic world. I've kind of seen it a couple of times before. So the story was nice, but there's just something I've banged on about Citizen Sleepers far too much on this podcast, but there's just something very remotely human about the struggles of Citizen Sleeper that I just thought it just got totally snuffed. Completely. And narrative, but we all knew that was going to God of War or whatever. But yeah, I was surprised at that.
It was very Endling was a very interesting thing. Like, I'm happy to see it receive accolades.
Yeah.
But it's not a game that I think has been in the general conversation for the past year. So I was surprised to see it up there. Again, very happy. Great news for the devs. And it's definitely piqued my interest to play it.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard of Citizen Sleeper, and even things like Norco, like there were these sort of like games that became a wider part of the cultural conversation in a way that Endling didn't, which is always the thing at things like this, right? Like the judging panel is a group of people that are going to have individual tastes that don't reflect the wider industry, and that's great. But then at a show where God of War gets all the awards, you're almost a bit like confused as to how these things can happen. It was very strange, but
I totally agree.
Yeah. Same with I was surprised to see I Was a Teenage Exocolonist as well up for Beyond Entertainment. It's so weird. This title's so weird. Like, that game is so good. I'm happy that it got a nomination. Like, I didn't think it was going to win, but I'm happy to see it, like, represented. Like, that was a really good pick. But yeah, I feel the same as you about Endling. But that maybe be a bit, like, shrug. But yeah, good for the team.
What is that award? What is Beyond Entertainment?
Oh, so it's the Hellblade Award for the game most like Hellblade. No, I say that with a lot of genuine...
yes, I know exactly what you mean.
I started watching the BAFTAs. I watch it every year since the 2018 awards, which is when Hellblade was up for everything, and I was really into Hellblade, so that's why I started watching the BAFTAs. And basically, they brought in the new category that year, which is Games Beyond Entertainment, which they were like, is a game that addresses an important issue or like does something beyond entertaining. Basically, it's like it teaches you something or it conveys an important message. And it was very, very clearly introduced because Hellblade had made such an impact with its with its really, really detailed and well researched and like unflinching look at psychosis and various other like mental health problems. And it felt almost like, to me at the time, they kind of invented this award to go like, we really want to give something to Hellblade and we don't think that it can win in any of the other categories, and then it went and like wiped the board anyway, so
Interesting.
Sometimes it's called like the Social Impact Award or social
I like
something.
the Games Beyond Entertainment category though, because things like very not indie, but a thing that I really, really pulled for in the 2021 awards was like Animal Crossing got nominated for it. 2021, because the social context of Animal Crossing when it came out right at the start of all the early pandemic lockdowns, and how important it was for socializing, and it had this impact beyond what the game was almost. And they had things like I can only think of Nintendo examples, which is not helpful for this podcast, but also like Nintendo Labo, which is about teaching you like building skills. And so it's a bit more versatile than, I don't want to say just social impact, because social impact is really important, obviously. I mean, I am like the biggest advocate for games with social impact that you'll ever meet, but there is more to Games Beyond Entertainment than that. And I think it's really useful that it's a very versatile category.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
How interesting. Oh, thank you. I didn't know what that meant, so that's really interesting to hear about.
That's cool. I just came in with my own personal name for it.
Awesome.
That makes more sense.
The Hellblade Award for the game that is most like Hellblade is what I've always called it.
That's such an accurate descriptor.
Amazing.
Also, I'm pretty sure I said earlier that about narrative, God of War, it wasn't Immortality one.
It was Immortality, yeah.
So anyway,
you know what? Yeah, I was about to say that's a great time for us to move the conversation on to our main topic for today, which is what you guys saw at PAX East. I really want to hear about this.
Yeah, we went to PAX East. We went on a lovely little trip to Boston.
We sure did.
We sure did. It's my second trip to PAX East. It was Rachel's first after she joined me at PAX West in September. It was good. We had fun, didn't we? We had a laugh. It's tiring. I think this is the thing about any game show or game event that you do in person. It's just absolutely exhausting, especially when we're doing what we do, when we're trying to like find small stories as well as also highlight cool games, and also trying to find a little bit of time in that to do things like eat and sleep. Like you've really got to cram a lot into one day. And these like the show floors are so big. They're enormous. The amount of stuff to see. especially on the Saturday, the amount of people that are around you. And
Yep,
just
a
the
lot
amount
of
of people
bodies.
you're meeting and talking to. Yep. These things are exhausting. But it was good. We had a good laugh. We had a couple of nice sandwiches and saw a lot of cool games. What did you think of Boston, Rachel, seeing as that was the first time you'd been?
So yeah, I mean, didn't see much of Boston, did we? But in terms of like, yeah, it's always the case, isn't it? But in terms of like PAX West and PAX East, I much preferred PAX East. I think just the layout. I think I've talked about this before, but like it's in one hall, like one big convention center, like hall, and PAX West is like everywhere. It's like different floors, different buildings, different theaters. So in terms of everything being in one place, it just made it so much easier to just do a couple of loops and be like, right, this is what we want to hit, this is what we want to cover. But yeah, even like as much prep as we did, like the people we wanted to speak to and the games we wanted to cover, being there was like so much, it was just so different than anything we could have planned beforehand. But yeah, I think we did a really good job. We highlighted some really interesting indies, which we'll get into in a moment. And yeah, talked to some cool people. It was nice.
And I got a 2-minute long hug from Ellen McLean, the voice of GLaDOS and the announcer from TF2.
No
so
way.
That's like a life highlight for me, I think.
Absolutely. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
She was lovely. She's
so
precious.
nice.
Like she remembers our names. Like she was like she was just so great, and she's so funny.
Yeah.
She's
so funny.
All right.
So sharp and quick-witted.
People who play villains are the nicest people. I think that is just
Right?
Yeah.
just a rule of life.
An
Is
angel.
It's wild. She just like, we met her at West when we interviewed them, and then she just came in the room and she just like pulled me into a hug and was just asking how I was and what I'd been up to. And then she told me about what it was like living in Boston in the 70s. And I was like, oh, well, next time we come to Boston, I'd really want to try and see the city. She just looked at me and went, drop me an email. I'll give you a list of things to see. And I was like, are you kidding? Yes. Yes, Ellen. Best friend, Ellen.
oh man. That's
It was
that is
great.
so wholesome. Ah.
It was very good fun.
Yeah, it was
Right.
nice.
Well, I have a few questions that I want to ask you guys. I know that you guys have brought things that you want to talk about as well. I'm going to gloss over my desire to ask about the sandwiches you ate because I love a good
Why?
sandwich, but we are in theory on a bit of a timer, so I'll leave that.
Fair.
Right.
It'll be a follow-up pod.
We could talk about the sandwiches for a while. They were
Yeah,
really
probably
good.
an hour,
That's
to
the
be
thing
fair.
is I could definitely listen to the sandwich chat for like the next 20 minutes, but
The bread, thick, delicious.
Like
Right,
a mini
okay.
wheeze.
okay. The thing I actually wanted to ask was that while I was following your adventures overseas, I did notice that you got to check in with the devs of two of my most anticipated indies this year, which are Demon School and Goodbye Volcano High, two very different takes on my beloved genre of weird high school games. So yeah, just like anything you can tell me about those
Hell
two
yeah.
games would be so appreciated.
Also, just like a quick side note, we missed you, Rebecca. We missed you so much.
we were
I missed
talking about you constantly when we were there.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I missed you guys too.
We were like,
I
imagine
was-
if we did a recording, like an episode recording here with Rebecca. That'd be great.
Oh,
Rebecca would
Yeah.
love this.
Yeah.
so sweet.
Someone said to us, like, oh, why didn't you try and plan some kind of Indiescovery live thing while you were here? And Rachel and I were like, because we're not here. We're not all here. We're literally missing a third of the magic. So we refuse.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
absolutely
gonna
not,
have-
babes.
I'm gonna have a little cry if we're not careful. That's so sweet. I missed you too. It was really hard not being able to send you every stupid meme that crossed my line of sight for those 4 days while you were away.
Bless you.
Do you know how many Resi 4 memes I have just had to dismiss, Liam?
What?
Rachel,
You should have just sent
the
them
Ace
anyway.
Attorney memes. Oh my god. Yeah, we have. I swear, we each duo in this trio has their own entirely meme-based relationship based on like 2 or 3 games
Yeah.
that we just constantly
That's
share with
incredibly true, actually. Yeah, good point.
each other. We got like a group chat, and then we've got everyone splitting off into
Yes.
smaller and smaller groups to share memes.
Just to
It's-
send each other shit posts. Yeah,
Yeah,
very true.
absolutely. I missed the shit posting. I'm so glad you guys are back.
We're glad to be back.
Yes, we are. So should I jump into Demon School?
Yeah, because I didn't play Demon School or Goodbye Volcano High, so I will defer to my colleague on this one.
Yes. Well, we played a little bit at PAX West.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, good point.
I played only a little bit at PAX East, but it was the same demo. So it was about an hour of demo there, which is really good, a nice juicy demo, which was part of it was so in Demon School, essentially you play as a group of uni students who live on an island where a gate to the demon world, the underworld, has opened, and loads of like ghosties and ghoulies are like coming on through, parade style. So you and your gang need to basically beat them up and send them back where they belong, which is in hell, basically. And so there's two kind of parts to the game. It's very Persona-like. So part of it is you running around your school, like, what are we going to do after senior year? We have to have a good summer holiday kind of situation.
Yes.
And that's the part where, as well, you take on like mysteries from the island's residents. So they will come to you with mysteries, and then you solve them. And the way you solve them is by fisticuffing with skeletons, demons, all sorts of supernatural nonsense, which is turn-based. And has this really cool like synergy system where a lot of the characters will have like their own fighting style, but again, where you place them tactically on the grid, they can like have like joint attacks and like help each other out in certain ways. And when you do, there's this cool like comic book animation of the characters like jumping into action, and it's just really, really good. As I said, it's very Persona-like in terms of style, music. I think that was one of the inspirations for the game, but there was another one as well, like Shinigami Tensei. It was like quite a big, I've not played it, but that was another big inspiration for them. So yeah, I'm just in love with Demon School. I've not stopped talking about it. I'm like writing an article about it soon. I'm talking about it here. I just keep banging on about this game. It's really good.
Clearly I'm into encouraging this because I'm so excited for Demon School, and I'm really pleased to hear that it's shaping up to play as good as it looks.
It feels so nice to play.
I'm
and
obsessed,
just like, the way that everything unfolds, so that you have the art styles, like the characters will be in like 2D, but then when you're fighting, it kind of switches to like this isometric 3D perspective, and so the bosses are like, at one point there's like this giant skeleton head with like two arms that kind of come around the side of the grid, the square grid, and will try and like poke and flick like your characters, like it's just really great. So the style is awesome.
Oh, so cool.
Looks amazing. So
that's got an unknown 2023 release date on it, right, at this point?
Yes. I asked if it was going to be 2023 because they actually haven't confirmed a year yet, but it is definitely this year at some point. That's what they said. I'm pretty nice. They were like, it's basically, the demo was so, even back at West, was so well put together. Like the build was really smooth, no hiccups. So it should be sometime this year. So very excited for that one.
Exciting.
It's exciting.
I wish they put a demo out for everyone, so everyone could play it, but they haven't. Maybe before release they might put a demo out. I'm not sure, but
I hope so.
Feels like something we'll see at the next fest.
Yes. Hopefully. Yeah. That would be like a highlight of, what is it? June. June is the next fest.
Oh yeah, so it is.
So.
Yeah.
June is distressingly not that far away all of a sudden.
I know.
It's like 2 months away, right? What the fuck?
When did that happen?
How is this
just New Year's. It's still January.
Oh.
I refuse to accept anything else.
Very, very distressing, to be honest.
March is gone. It's over.
Oh yeah, today's the last day of March.
Yeah. Oh god.
Day of recording, 31st.
God damn.
We're all just here with our heads in our hands.
I know, we're literally just like
horrific.
But yeah, there was a new demo for Goodbye Volcano High. Am I right in
saying?
Yes.
So I think this was the first time they had shown a build like in public.
I thought it was.
So as soon as I learned that, I was like, I got to go see it, because I'm obviously very excited for Goodbye Volcano High as well. Rebecca, I mean, this is like Life is Strange with dinosaurs, so no wonder you're really intrigued. Yes. So yeah, the demo was pretty good. It's definitely one of the slowest demos and the longest demos I played at PAX East. It took half an hour and not a lot happened, but it was still pretty good. I think it's because the way the characters talk, and this is something that they might change, but there's like a lot of pauses in the middle of dialogue. They'll just like very much saunter through conversations. And it's quite funny because two characters will be chatting and the school bell will go and they'll be like, "Ooh, gotta get to class," and then keep chatting, but it's quite slowly. And I'm like, girls, you gotta get to class. Let's go. Like,
it's quite interesting.
Sounds pretty real.
But in general, it was a really good build as well. It was very solid, no hiccups. So yeah, the demo follows Fang, who's a student with a group of friends at school. They're part of a kind of up and coming indie band, and they're just trying to make it big. So again, similar to Demon School, there's this idea that it's like their last year, they're seniors, the summer's coming up, they're all thinking about what they're going to do after that. Do they try and make it big with the band, or do they try and get a bit more realistic with like what jobs they should be looking for? And yeah, it's very Life is Strange. I think I said it was like between that and We Are OFK, which is the kind of the band biopic. It's very similar vibes. So like the way they speak and how they, it's like young adults. Because we're oldies now. So that's how I describe them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just really charming. Yeah. And that was it. So it's also a music rhythm game. So there's a bit where Fang is playing their guitar, but instead of the usual, like, there's like a circle and then it will beat down and then you have to hit your button on time with a circle. It had that, but there were lots of like different ways, like on the screen at the same time, like different like mini rhythm games that you had to kind of like pay attention to at the same time, kind of like when you're playing a musical instrument. So one of them would be like a timing one, another one would be like just putting the joystick or the mouse in a certain direction. I just really thought that was a nice take on what sometimes rhythm games can be very generic in terms of like, hit the spacebar in time. But it was really great. I really liked that aspect of the demo, which I didn't expect at all. Like, I knew there's going to be like a lot of chatting, a lot of visual novel elements. But yeah, the music mini games are really cool. Like,
really cool.
I was surprised.
I didn't expect that either. I knew that there was going to be some rhythm-based gameplay in addition to sort of visual novel sections, but I didn't expect anything that was... This to sound really harsh. I wasn't expecting sort of innovation on the rhythm game front from it. So that is really exciting. Fang is voiced by Lachlan Watson, right? From Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
I think
which is one of the things that really drew me to the game initially.
Oh, really?
I know they're in it. I assume that they're the main character. It would be kind of weird if they weren't.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam page. Yeah, you're completely right. Amazing.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
That rules. Yeah, that's really cool.
Good to see.
But like, again, like, that's what is really great about this game as well. Like, there's a lot of different queer identities. So obviously Fang is non-binary, and there's a lot of other, queer dinos, which we love to see. And that aspect didn't come through much in the demo. Like, there wasn't a lot of like relationship talk or just like that kind of chatter, but it's something that I feel will definitely come up in the bigger game. Like, it just it feels like that's going to come into it somehow, like messy relationships and personal identities. Like, so yeah, I'm just looking forward to when it releases, which is
June,
I
think.
15th of June.
Cool.
Yeah. Nice.
Awesome.
That's soon. That's
not
really
long.
soon.
That's soon. That's another thing I really desperately want to play that is coming out soon.
Yeah.
I'm so behind on my 2023 games already.
Oh, don't even get me started, pal. Same. Do you think this feels like a game that is like a tough thing to demo in the context of a show floor?
Oh my goodness,
well?
whenever like visual novel based things get demoed, I'm always like inclined to be very forgiving, because I'm like, how do you, like, in the same way that how do you demo a novel, right? Like, if you're listening to an audiobook or you're reading a book and it has like, a chapter from the next book in the series or whatever, and you don't really go in with the expectation of that being super representative necessarily. So
true.
I always try and, but when I see, when I see a visual novel get a demo, I'm like, this is exciting. This is cool.
I'm really excited for this.
Their headphones weren't amazing, but again, it's forgivable because you're on a very busy show floor.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And they were at the end of an aisle as well, so lots of foot traffic. But they had kind of like, it was very cozy, the booth. So they had done their best to make it so like you were kind of like nestled in instead of being exposed. But yeah, the vibe of the game still came through really strong, which is a great sign, even when like there's hustle and bustle around you. But yeah, very excited for Goodbye Volcano High. I'm sure it will bring up lots of memories of school and high school and uni.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, between the one about the hellmouth opening under a school and the one about, you know, impending extinction while trying to finish high school, I think it's gonna feel really nostalgic. And thank you for indulging my tastes as our resident 30-something who's obsessed with high school narratives in a way she never was in actual high school. I really appreciate it.
I'm right there with you. I love I love a coming of age story.
You gotta love a coming of age story. And like I never appreciated them when I was a teen, but now when I hit my late 20s, I think that was when I started to be like, I love a good coming of age story now. So
yeah, same, yeah.
You know, and it's like I would have loved this when I was younger. I would have killed for a game like this when I was like in my early 20s. Like there was just nothing like Volcano High around.
That's a really good point. Like I think that all of the games, you know, that I love now that are these like teen narratives that I find I really resonate with are from like post 2010 certainly. So just hit a little late for me, and so it's like, you know, it does have that.
Such a good point though. Like we just didn't have that diversity in games back when we were teenagers at all, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Absolutely. Like I don't think I ever really saw myself represented in a game to the extent that I now do.
Exactly.
You know, and I'm happy for the next generation of teens that they get to experience these at the point where they're perhaps more explicitly relevant. Although I do still think that like as an adult you can learn, you know, you can take good messages from coming of age stories, because if there's one thing that I have learned, it's that you're not done growing up ever, I don't think.
No.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
Absolutely not. And there's definitely something as well about like catering to that child that's still inside you as well, and like almost giving them probably the nutrition that they probably needed when they were a teenager, like as an adult. Like there's probably something quite like cathartic and healing about that too, right?
I think that's very true. Yeah. This could be a whole other discussion. I feel like we should shelve this now.
Yeah, it's a really good point,
because it's such it's one that's very close to my heart, and I would love to chat about it more. But I also really do appreciate you starting off this whole discussion with the two games I was really excited for, and I will throw it to you guys now. I have notes on the rest, but I know that you guys have some highlights that you wanted to bring forward.
Yeah, Liam, go for it.
I'll dive in. So the first game I really wanted to talk about was a game that I didn't actually know existed before we went to PAX. It's a bit shameful because Catherine did a fantastic write-up about it in February. But the game is Pacific Drive by Ironwood Studios. So there was like rumblings within the show office when we were at PAX about this game. Mike Channel from Outside Xbox was talking to us about it and was like, if you can play anything, go play Pacific Drive. It's on the show floor. And I actually didn't get a chance to play this until 30 minutes before my taxi to the airport home.
Wow.
So I went to see them in the afternoon, and they were like, we'd love to show you the game, but we don't have any media appointments until like 2:15. My taxi was at 3:00. I got there at 2:15. They were still busy because obviously people have been queuing and you never want to push in front of people. So I didn't get on the game until about 2:30, 20 to 3. And I was like, I do not have time to play this game. I'll play it for 5 minutes and then I'll dash. But this game got its hooks in me so much that I do think it's probably joint first for my game of the show.
Ooh, interesting.
Wow.
It is so brilliantly realized even now, and it is set to come out this year. But Pacific Drive is a game about, basically it's a game about a car. You're in the Pacific Northwest, in an area known as the Olympic Exclusion Zone, and you have this old station wagon that is basically your lifeline. It's your safety net. It's your weapon. And this car is stuffed full of like weird instruments and technology. And you've got to look after this car by replacing its panels, repairing it. If the door falls off, you've got to find a new door and like hook a new door on it. And you can find different bits of equipment that you can like stick on the top or put in the luggage rack or put in the boot. And the game is about driving through this, well, I think it's a series of exclusion zones, these quite large open areas, trying to find weird materials or anomalies, and then going into a portal and going back to your home base, which is this garage. While you're in these exclusion zones, there is this storm that's building, and the closer the storm gets to you and to this area that you're in, the more fucked up shit just starts to happen around you. So saw blades might come out of the ground and start to spin around your car. Little jellyfish-looking creatures might grab hold of your car and lift it in the air and try and flip it over. Bolts of lightning will hit the ground and like zap between trees or create like a pocket of radiation you've got to drive out of. And all the while you're in this car, interacting with it in a very diegetic way. So, you get in the car by pressing like L1 on a controller to open the door. Then you've got to turn the key in the ignition to start the car and then pull the handbrake back, and then you can start to drive.
Oh my
Your
God.
map is on like an old CRT in the passenger seat. So you got to try and find where you're going. You've got to physically turn your camera's head to the passenger seat to look at the map. And there's like a load of like instruments on the dashboard that tell you how far away like radiation is or if there's an anomaly coming. And it doesn't really tell you anything beyond that. It had like a checklist, and I couldn't tell whether this was a scripted sequence for the purpose of a demo. But it was like, okay, go find these 3 orbs, basically, to initiate a portal and then get out of this exclusion zone. And just the way that it ramps up with the amount of stuff happening around you, the way your car gets damaged, you're trying to like search for new panels to glue on the side. Yeah, it really, that neuron activated meme with the monkey? That was me playing this game. Really beautiful, looks stunning. The Pacific Northwest is such an evocative location to set a game in anyway, but the way it's realized in this game is so beautiful. It's not photorealistic. It's a bit like Firewatch in its visual style, but a bit darker and a bit gloomier. And yeah, I kind of just like stood up after playing it and I was like, what is this? And I had to read up a bit more about it to fully understand, but it is a roguelike. You are going out into these areas and then going back to your base, and you're doing runs through these areas to try and find different things. And I think in an era where we have things like Hades and Returnal, I kind of love that it's a roguelike. I kind of love that I'm being put into these, scripted areas with randomly generated events happening, and you've just got to kind of survive and figure out what's going on, all the while in this crummy little vehicle. Yeah, no, Pacific Drive, it's out this year, and it has wormed its way into my brain like nothing else I played at PAX. Just a really cool game. Yeah.
What an incredible recommendation.
Jealous. I'm so jealous you got to play that.
I know.
Honestly.
You know what it was? You were gone for like 2 hours, and I was sat there and I was like, God, I wish Rachel had got a chance to play this.
Oh, that sounds so cool.
Yeah, it's so rad.
I love
it's
any
just
sort of
properly
game
rad.
where you have to tactically, like, you're in a vehicle and you have to control the vehicle by like pulling levers and something like Far or
Yes.
Oh, I love stuff like that. God damn it!
I know, right? The closest comparison point is probably something like My Summer Car, which was like that meme game that YouTubers
remember
loved.
that one.
I don't know that
Yeah.
one.
Where basically you had like a wreck of a car and you had to, physically screw in all of the engine parts and stuff. And it's maybe not that deep in terms of how you build the car, but they've taken that core like premise and just wrapped it in this really cool, weird mystery.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
One to keep an eye on, definitely.
Oh man, this is just becoming like a Steam Next Fest wish list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Expanding
apologies.
session for me. Like I'm just
Rachel, you look in pain.
I just
you look so sad.
Everything you described. The Pacific Northwest, weird shit happening.
Right.
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, you need to try this out.
I think that's a 3 out of 3 crowd pleaser for this podcast.
Right.
Between one thing and
Yeah,
another.
and all 3 of us. Wow.
Like, no shade on the other stuff I'm going to mention, but like, Pizza Possum was great, which we'll talk about later. This game sounds amazing. I'm jealous. How dare you?
A very singular thing. I'm sorry. I know.
Thank you for bringing it to the podcast. Oh my god. Yeah.
Should we move on before Rachel gets too upset?
Yes. Yes.
Should I do another one? Because I know you've done 2 of yours.
Oh yeah,
Rachel.
Go for it.
So the next one I want to talk about is a game called Wrestle Story. This is by TikTok Games. There were 2 wrestle games at
I was about
PAX.
to say, I had a question about this because as I was compiling a list this morning of games that you talked about on the site, I was like, wait, there's a Wrestle Story and a Wrestle Quest.
Yeah, there are 2. You know how sometimes there's just like moments in media where you get 2 games that appear at the same time, or 2 pieces of media that are just so intrinsically similar. Like, the example I always use is Bug's Life and Ants back in the 90s.
Yes.
So yeah, there was on the show floor, you had Wrestle Quest and Wrestle Story, which are both wrestling RPGs. Now, Wrestle Quest, we spoke to the developers and we had a great chat with them, but we didn't actually get a chance to play it, which was a shame. But Wrestle Story, I did get a chance to sit down and play 20 minutes of, so I feel better equipped to talk about this. And I really liked Wrestle Story. It's very early in development. There's like they have no idea when it's going to come out. They're, actively seeking, I assume, publishers. It's just at the moment, they were just on the show floor, basically, to just be like, here's a thing we have. We want to see what people think about it. And what they have is a Persona-like RPG where you play as a group of wrestling weirdos in a world where wrestling dictates all aspects of life. And all of these distinct regions have been taken over by heels, which I think is a wrestling term for the bad guys. I'm not a wrestling person, unfortunately. So in the demo I played, we're in this alternate version of Miami where someone called the Party King had taken over, and all of his loyal minions were forcing all of the citizens to stay awake constantly, to party all night and every day. And everyone was fucking knackered and they were done with this guy's bullshit.
It's like that Key and Peele sketch.
Yes, basically, yeah. Good reference.
I love that one.
So you play as this little wrestler and you've got your pals with you and you're running around and you're getting into turn-based combat encounters, but the turn-based combat encounters resemble things like the Mario and Luigi series on Game Boy Advance or Paper Mario RPGs. So when you're fighting, you do these special moves and you've got to do things like, hold down on the analog stick until a light goes green and then flick it up to do a suplex. Or hold a button to, big up the crowd before you jump off one of the sides of a wrestling ring. So combat's really fun, and also it's very snappy, which I think is really important. I've been playing a lot of Persona 5 for like the last 6 months, and I find that combat in Persona 5 just gets faster and faster the more you progress through the game, and you can tell that this game has a very similar approach to combat, in that the more you get to know your colleagues and stuff and the people you're with, your teammates, you're going to be able to do tag team moves and all this kind of stuff. Like I say, it's early days, but there's something here that I'm really interested in seeing more of. And anything that's Persona-like gets a thumbs up from me.
Yeah,
right?
true.
Of course. I'm just intrigued by this, as you say, like the trend to wrestling stories, because you've got Wrestle Story, Wrestle Quest, and Wrestling with Emotions, which is the one I was trying to think of a minute ago. Wrestling with Emotions, which is another upcoming. All like RPGs, all way, none of them I think are just straight fighting games as I understand it. It's all got, very like character oriented, and I am fascinated when that sort of thing comes up in the zeitgeist. And I know that wrestling is quite big. A lot of people who are video game fans are also wrestling fans, and I guess that's potentially where a lot of it's coming from. But to just sort of spring up into like a lot of indie devs suddenly making games that are visually and gameplay wise pretty diverse from the looks of things, but around this theme of what if you took the personas personas, and the the heel face stories from wrestling and turn that into an RPG is just so interesting and so fascinating that's really springing up. I love that.
My theory is all these people who grew up in the 90s watching wrestling and playing Final Fantasy VII on their PS1s are now in a position in companies to be creative directors.
Yes. It's like, we just realised you can get all your toys out of the box and play with them all at once if you want. I love that feeling.
Absolutely.
As an adult in a creative industry, I know that feeling, and it's such a good one.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy for these devs that get to do that.
So fun. Because you've mentioned wrestling with emotions, I feel compelled to say that Team Laserbeam, who are working on Wrestling with Emotions, did a game in 2020 called Teenage Blob. It costs like £2. It'll take you 40 minutes to play. Ooh. It's got a soundtrack by the Super Weeks, which is Midwestern emo. That game fucking rules. Have you played Teenage Blob?
I have.
Oh my god, I did not know that.
It was like one of the, like you said, like there was like moments in games, like when like album games were coming out, like that was one of the ones that I played. It's like I remember the skateboarding levels being amazing, like really fun. But yes, the music is good.
Beautiful game.
I didn't know that. That's a good connection.
Fun.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Teenage Blob. Check it out. And yes, album games. There's another podcast episode. We need to do one on album games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, we should definitely do that.
Right, get it in the spreadsheet. Somebody got the spreadsheet.
Hold on there.
The Indiescovery episode ideas spreadsheet is huge. Hopefully, if you've made it this far into the episode, good news for you is
gang, if you enjoy the podcast, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. People are going to physically stop us.
Some of the ideas are just so feral, though. I love it. I can't wait till we do some of them.
We get the best feedback on our most feral episodes, so I think
that's very, very true.
Like I'm really enjoying this one. I'm a little worried it's going to be too staid. We've only collapsed into cackles 2-3 times.
It's because we're so tired.
I know, that's the thing. This is why we were right to do a PAX roundup. It's like it's the only thing we can handle at the end of this week. It's a cool
true.
PAX demos roundup.
Hell yeah.
As friend of the podcast Yoli once said, she prefers it when we don't talk about games and rely heavily on the bullshit. So good news, that's coming.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Rachel, what was your third choice?
My third choice was, can we please have a little break so I can edit this Last of Us news story?
Of course. You know what I don't get? Mm-hmm. Trash. What do you even call them? In sinks in America. Like grinds.
Garbage.
The garbage disposal.
Garbage disposal, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
We used to have one of those, and we never used it.
But surely it just clogs the sink up eventually anyway, because even if you grind it up, it's going to leave a residue at the bottom of the pipe, right? Wrong? I don't know.
I don't really know.
I've seen too many horror films to
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I would every single time I used
never go near it,
I'd have Call of the Void in my head every time being put your finger in it.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was
intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, what if they win?
When I was 10, we moved to a house with a garbage disposal for some unknown reason, and it was
damn.
God,
just really scary. And when we redid the kitchen a few years later, we just got rid of it, I think. So
how weird.
Imagine having that with kids and stuff. That I just wouldn't trust it.
Right?
What if they put the hamster down it or something? Sorry about that. That's from a horror film, not Hereditary, but something for the creepy kid.
Honestly, garbage disposals and blenders. The worse the horror film, the more I guarantee you someone's sticking their hand in there at some point.
Yeah, true. Oh, I hate it. I can't. Any kind of. We've talked about this. Any kind of body horror just fucks me up.
Same, absolute same. I think that's not the worst one for me, but I don't love it.
No.
Not a fan.
Yeah. And yeah, it really does link into that whole intrusive thoughts thing, right? You just can't sit in a room with one of those and not be like...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I used to have really, really weird... I guess most people probably did when they were kids, but I used to have really overwrought intrusive thoughts about what if I did this and my head cut off or something.
I've definitely had the whole crossing a bridge and just holding your keys and being like, what if I just threw these keys off the side?
Yes. I know, right?
Okay.
I get like properly wobbly legs when I'm on a high place and I'm like trying to take a picture. Oh, we went to the top of what's the big church called in Barcelona that's still not finished?
Oh,
Sagrada de Familia, maybe?
Yes, that's the one. Mm-hmm.
We went there a few years ago in Barcelona, and I'm not very good with heights, and we went to the top of one of the towers, and just like it didn't feel stable because it was so tight and claustrophobic, and I was like feeling very like, oh my god, like wobbly legs.
Yeah.
And then Yoli was like, oh, your phone's better, can I borrow your phone to take some pictures? I was like, yeah, of course. So I gave her my phone, and she was holding the phone, and she leant out of one of the windows and held my phone over the I'll leave this in because she'll hate me telling this story. She leant over and she held the phone out, above the ground. And honestly, I just fell to the ground because my legs just gave away with how much I was like feeling like vertigo. And she was like, what are you doing? And I was like holding on the wall. I was like, you need to give me my phone back. I can't cope.
Oh, God.
I need to get down off this. We've paid like 40 euros to be up there.
Oh,
like,
my God.
Take me down, wife. I can't be up here any longer.
I've only been to see it from the outside. And now I'm kind of glad I have only been.
Cool inside.
Although
Very cool.
I was actually, like, to be fair, when I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower, I was surprisingly okay. But
Yeah?
I was a wreck at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Oh,
my God.
babes.
I cannot do it. I just can't.
I get if you're like, because I don't even consider myself, I'm not more scared of heights than average, I don't think. I think I have a normal human reaction to heights, but I'm sort of all right.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, if you have a problem, like, specifically around heights, that would be...
Yeah.
God.
It's not
Jeez.
good.
Yeah. No.
It was really... But yeah, it was quite funny, though, because when I went on a school trip when I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And, because I was always the anxious kid, even though we didn't call it that then. Everyone was like, "Oh, Rebecca's gonna be a real mess all through this." And actually, because everyone told me what a mess I was gonna be, I was quite fine. Everyone else was like, "No."
Hey, good for you.
How we got up, and I was like, "Well, isn't this funny?"
That
Yes.
rules. Yeah. Who's laughing now?
Yeah,
Fuck 'em.
like literally, one of the teachers was like, "Okay, everyone's got to go to the top. Like, there's going to be some sort of like penalty at the not like a serious one, but like a joke one at the." A hostel tonight if people don't go, and like he got sick and had to go down halfway.
Amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Take that.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's a question for you both. Would you ever bungee jump or skydive?
Yeah.
Don't see the point.
Opposite.
Two very weirdly the same energy behind both those answers.
Right, with just the
Yeah,
same tone,
no.
totally different answers.
Well, what's your justification, Rachel? You acted there like I'd said, would you have brown bread over white? Like,
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
so blasé. Oh my god!
Absolutely not. White bread for life. I'm not eating bread to be healthy. I'm eating it because I want
Fair,
carbs and I
very
want.
fair.
Oh dear.
So
Yeah, Rebecca, why
you would
not?
skydive?
I just don't. I don't see the point. I'm like, I'm not scared of doing it, but it's going to be such an administrative thing to go through for something that I have no strong feelings on either way. That I'm just like,
Sorry, you wouldn't do it for the faff.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I don't have to fill in a form. That's the only reason you wouldn't do it.
yes.
No, but that's valid because when my dad did it last year, they had to delay it like 3 times because one of the weather. So you have to be free to skydive whenever. Same with
Right.
hot air balloon rides. And yeah, apparently he had to fill in one form. So I understand Rebecca. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, it's just I don't want to do it. I don't not want to do it. I don't want to do it. If it was like something that was presented to me as an easy and safe thing I could just do in 20 minutes, I'd probably have a go. But since
Same
it
with
would be
bungee
so
jumping
much
then?
planning, yes, absolutely.
Both of them.
So much planning. I would just be like, nah, I've got if I'm going to plan a day out, I'm going to plan something that I'd like to do actively.
I'm flabbergasted. Meanwhile, Rachel, I guess, if someone said to you, do you want to jump out of a plane? You'd be like, yeah, I've got 15 minutes free, why not?
I'll do it.
What the hell? I
think
I wish I had
I'm more
that
partial
bravery.
to the bungee jump over the skydive. You know what? I love a zip line. A zip line is
Do
great.
ya?
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
that.
Zip line is good. I think for me, zip line, then a bungee jump, and then a skydive, I think.
You know,
Wow.
this is going to sound really weird. I'd rather skydive than bungee jump if it was like a straight choice.
What? Really?
Interesting.
Because, okay, so the bungee jump is like, that's, you end up sort of really upside down. It feels like it jolts you around a lot more, whereas the skydive is like, you know, you get the experience of flying, right? So that's got a nice thing going for it.
True.
But yeah, I don't fancy bungee jumping.
And Liam, you're just zero, nothing, neither.
Yeah, you know what I like? Being on the ground, like where we belong.
It is the better option, I'm not denying.
Okay, but can you do a trampoline?
So this is the thing. We were talking about this before we started recording, right? About how, because you're turning 30 in like 3 days.
I am!
And so we were just saying that, like, the joke is when you turn 30, it all goes downhill. But I actually think that has been true for me. It has all gone downhill since I've turned 30. Before 30, I loved swings. I loved trampolines. Any kind of, like, you know, base level playground equipment, a big fan. Since I've hit 30, my inner ear does not agree with swings. I do 2 or 3 rounds on 2 or 3 swings, and I have to get off because I feel a bit dizzy and sick. And it's the same on a trampoline. I cannot do it. I've never been good on rides. I've never been good on fairground rides or roller coasters or anything like that. But now even my precious swings can't. They're not part of my life anymore, and I'm devastated.
I am so sad for you.
Thank you. But imagine me doing a skydive knowing that. Like,
I'm just now, I'm a little worried on my own behalf now, because in this conversation earlier I was saying that, like, basically it's been a sort of plateau, slight steady decline since my early 20s, and I didn't feel when I hit 30 that it got worse. But then I realised I turned 30 in 2020. I turned 30 in the height of the pandemic. I haven't done enough since I turned 30 to really get a baseline. So now I'm like, this was going to be the year. This is going to be the year I start doing water parks again, and like maybe a theme park or something. And now I'm like, oh no, what if it has all gone? What if I've lost the spark and I didn't even know it was going? No.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
We'll have to see. But yeah, so scared now. It's okay. Happy birthday, Rachel.
Yeah,
Thank
good luck.
you. Thank you. Yeah, we were joking that I'm literally going to wake up the morning of Monday and be like, like just a crack in my
just
back.
with your bones turn to dust. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God. I am not sure when this segged back into podcast, but I've enjoyed this part.
It's been great.
Yes,
I think from the skydiving conversation, I think we'll.
I think you should leave that in. This
there.
has been good. But are we all back? Are we all officially back now? Can we?
Yes.
Do
Yeah, I think we are.
How many more? We got 3 more games.
3 more, one each,
yes.
and then one joint one. I think. Yeah.
We have the ultimate bestest. Well, it was until someone brought up a really great game. So thanks for that. Seriously, I'm literally could not hide how jealous I was.
You looked like you'd been punched.
You look so sad. You look genuinely upset.
Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't look at you. I felt so bad.
It just sounds like such a good game. God damn it! Anyway, my next game is Pizza Possum, a game where you run around as a feral possum, eating a bunch of food in this kind of outdoorsy Mediterranean seaside town. Both me and Liam played this game. I played it. I was like, you gotta play this game. It's your energy, like this like chaotic like ball of feral energy in this game. Essentially you play as a possum with a cute little hat, massive hands, which I kind of noticed. His hands aren't big, but they're like grab-worthy hands. Like he's grabbing, he's swiping as he's moving through. So it's kind of a stealth game meets like kind of like chaotic platformer where you're running around, grabbing food, and also hiding from like these patrolling like dogs who I don't think they're the police, but they're just like, could you not steal food please, because that's kind of rude. And the possum's like, no, I'm gonna steal all the food I want. So you run around as this possum, you get keys to open gates. It's quite quick, it's snappy. You can hide in like berry bushes to like kind of outwit the dogs. There's other animals that you can like push out the way and like snatch food from their hands. Like it's just really fun. And I think I was saying to you, Liam, I was like, I really hope this is like is going to be turned into a co-op game, and it is. Like on the Steam page, it says that it's going to be
Oh,
like a
nice.
co-op game. Yeah, so there's going to be a bunch of you, whether you be like a possum or maybe you have like a raccoon and a possum or whatever, running around, very
sweet.
overcooked style, swiping pizzas and junk food as you go. And yeah, it was just a really great demo. I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, you can see more of our impressions on the. We did a video on it, a supporter only video, but. Yeah, it's great.
I feel like you also mentioned Untitled Goose Game as a pointless
Yes.
comparison there, which with the multiplayer now even more so, because I played that with my
Yes.
partner in multiplayer and it was a great time.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
So
Like
yeah,
this
it's,
possum
lovely,
it has
lovely
the
stuff.
cheeky energy of the goose from Goose Game.
Oh,
like I
that's
feel like they'd
Yeah.
be like the
essential.
ultimate criminal duo. Possum and goose.
I
Actually,
want that
they'd be too
crossover.
powerful. It would be too powerful. They'd be like like a
They really would.
criminal empire from this possum and this goose. But yeah,
What if you
The pizza possum is like the goose after a Red Bull, is maybe how I describe it.
Oh my god.
yes. Like
Yeah.
popping candy, Red Bull, battery acid. Yes. All in
The main
one.
character from Donut County was another thing I kind of got from
Yes.
looking at just the footage.
Yeah.
It gave me, I don't know why, because obviously you've seen way more of it than I have. Would you agree with the Donut County vibes there? Because that's what first came to my mind before Untitled Goose Game, I think, when I saw it. It's got the kind of chaotic, like, I don't know, it had that chaos energy that I associate with Donut County, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say definitely the chaos energy. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah, I don't know why. I just looked down and I was like, maybe it's just a food thing. Maybe it's a food thing, is what I thought, because I was like, pizza,
Yeah.
donuts.
The
I can
raccoon
see
in Donut
why.
County.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the raccoon, of course. So yeah,
Of course, the
awesome.
raccoon as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, is it called Pizza Possum, Rachel?
Yes.
Or is there
Yes.
a different name that we called it during PAX East?
Did we call it something else?
What did you
Yeah,
call
because
it?
we were in the show office, and so what happens at PAX, this has happened to both West and East, is there gets to a point where Rachel and I are fucking done with the day. But we have to be back at the show office, and I have to upload footage, and Rachel has to write supporter posts. And we just go feral, and we just start to basically just make, like, noises at each other and, like, make each other laugh.
Oh, I
And
see
we're
where
sat
this is
in
going.
total silence, and out of nowhere, Rachel just goes, "Pizza possum," just like, and I just kept saying it like that for the rest of the show.
Pizza possum.
Pizza possum.
Yeah. yeah.
It's really, really good though. It's properly good fun.
It looks and sounds fantastic.
Another thing on this
Yeah.
podcast, which we pronounce in a very specific way. But yeah, pizza possum.
Pizza possum.
It was, yeah, and it was very quiet. And I said it with, to be fair, it was just us two in like another part of the office.
Yeah, it was just us two there at that point,
But,
to be fair.
oh
Yeah.
my God. That was, yeah, because if people were there, I don't think
I don't think they'd invite us back, to be honest.
I was going to say that. But yes, Pizza Possum,
So
very
funny.
good. Cozy Computers, the developers. Actually, I think
Yep.
it might be one guy. He was very nice. We didn't unfortunately get to interview him because time schedules didn't
yeah.
work out so much. But yeah, he was great. Definitely keep an eye on this game
Yeah,
for sure.
very fun, very exciting. I think if you
Awesome.
like Goose Game and Overcooked, it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Yeah.
Pizza possum. Anyway,
Was that a Boston accent?
Yes.
I'm clearly behind on saying it, so I need to just sit here. I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to say pizza possum another
Pizza Possum.
Pizza
20 or
possum.
30 times. And
Love it.
yeah,
The last game I want to talk about is a game, again, that Rachel didn't play. This was another one that I played after you left. This is Cobalt Core by Rocket Rat Games, being published by Brace Yourself. Rocket Rat, I was looking at their Steam page before we started recording. They've only made one other game called Sunshine Heavy Industries, which I've heard of but never played. Very thematically similar in that you basically, I think Sunshine Heavy Industries is a puzzle game where you build spaceships to specification. And Cobalt Core is, I would say Cobalt Core is like Faster Than Light meets Slay the Spire.
Ooh.
So you control a spaceship. I think there's a couple of different spaceships in the game. Each have their own pros and cons. And your ship is crewed by a bunch of animals. And each animal represents a set of cards that are in your deck. So if you might have a rat that is an engineer, and that rat will give you a specific cards that might help you repair your ship or do engineering related things. So you are going around this map, clicking on nodes to progress, a bit like Slay the Spire, a bit like Faster Than Light. And sometimes you get into combat situations with other spaceships. The difference between this and something like Faster Than Light or Slay the Spire is the position of your ship compared to the enemy ship depends on how you take damage. So you'll be positioned in front of the ship to start with, and that ship will have different components on it. It'll have a cockpit, it'll have different cannons, and a bit like Slay the Spire, it will indicate to you what this ship is going to do next turn. So if it's going to take a shot, two red lines will appear if it's got two cannons where those shots are going to hit. So you can use your turns in your cards to move out the way. So some cards let you evade. So you might get 2 movement points if you draw a card with evade on it. And this will let you shift out of the way of the enemy attacks. So you've got a balance between doing damage to the enemy ship, avoiding damage from the enemy ship, and also doing things like putting down a shield for a couple of turns, or maybe trying to get a hit in on a weak point, which is normally the cockpit. And although it's not really doing much in terms of like innovation in that space, it's combining a bunch of different ideas together in a way that just makes sense. And it's one of those games where you play it and you're just like, how does this not already exist? Like, how has no one else thought of like, what if we take the ship management systems from Faster Than Light and combine them with Slay the Spire? And Rocket Rat are doing that. It's really cute, really fun. It felt very complete already. Even in this early demo, as we were the PR, I was sat in a room with a PR as I was playing, and a shop character gave me a really cool card, and the PR was like, I have not seen that card yet. That's really cool.
Wow.
So seems to be a lot of variation. Yeah, feels like the kind of game I'm going to lose a hell of a lot of time to when it comes out on my Steam Deck. Very fun, tactical card game. Definitely keep an eye on it.
This is so cool. So how does the deck building work? Like, where do you get cards from and stuff?
I actually don't know how the deck building works. The demo I played was fairly straightforward. Just kind of like put me in a run already with a deck of cards already there. But yeah, I'm curious. I'm hoping you can like find new crew members and swap them out, as well as these different ships that give you different benefits and different play styles. They were saying there's one ship where you've got 2 guns, but they alternate which one fires. So you've got to shift the ship left and right to make sure that the enemy ship's always on the side where your gun's firing. So yeah, interesting. Very smart.
So
I like a smart game.
It's got like the ship building and ship management side, and then it's got the card side specifically animal based. I have more questions about animals.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, that was kind of it. That was kind of my question is animals.
Yeah, again, I wish I'd asked more. You know, they implied that basically each animal had a role on the ship, and that role dictated the type of cards that would be placed in your deck.
Oh, that's cool. So kind of within the fiction is like a spaceship crewed by animals.
Yes. Oh, sorry, did I not explain that very well?
It could be my Friday brain completely just missing the headline on that, but I was like, so
also
is it
so
like,
tired.
Is it like a ship kind of not... This is going to sound really gross, and I apologise for undercutting what sounds like a lovely game. I was like, is the ship kind of made from animals in like a kind of high concept level, or is it crewed by animals?
I can see why you thought that. No, it's crewed by animals.
Okay, that's adorable. The other one is a little...
It's basically like Star Fox. Yeah. Oh my god, no, it's not like a horrific spaceship that has like rat corpses on it.
I didn't think it was going to be like that, but I was like, you know, you can have things where like, oh, this bit is represented by like a concept that, you know, has similarities with the rat in quite a high level way.
Literally just your engineer is like a fox or
that
a
is
rat
so
or
cute.
some kind
That
of
is
animal.
adorable.
Yeah, it's really, really cute, yeah. Very Star Foxy, which I really appreciate.
Nice. Oh.
Yeah.
Again,
It's
nice
cool.
to see all the people
Yeah.
who grew up with Star Fox getting to
Again,
bring their
right?
ideas
Yeah.
into the indie space now.
Well,
It's
Nintendo
cool,
are bloody going to
'cause-
make one, so...
Oh god, I know. On their Steam
Grumble,
page,
Nintendo.
it says it was up for an honorable mention for excellence in design from IGF. And I'm just having a look at the other mentions. So it was up for honorable mention with Citizen Sleeper, Curse to Golf, Terra Nil, Tinykin. Like these are all like really good games. Potion Craft. Like, and then the actual nominations were like Neon White, Betrayal at Club Low, Stacklands, which is another amazing card game. So yeah, it's in like some pretty good pedigree there. Like,
yeah, it really is.
I'm impressed. Adding to
I'm
wish
not
list.
surprised by that. Yeah, same. As we talk, I haven't added it yet. There it goes.
And thematically, again, I feel like it's lent itself really well to the last game that you both wanted to talk about, which you both put up as your highlights. So I do want to know, Animal Well, right?
Hell yeah.
Animal
Correct.
Well.
So me and Liam had, both heard about Animal Well before we went. I mean, a lot of us have at LPS. We're quite keen on this game from the sounds of it and from who we've talked to on the team. And so we were quite keen to play the game, maybe talk to the devs. Obviously, it's big mode, so it's Donkey's game. Maybe chat to Donkey. Didn't happen. Did chat to Leah, though, who was very nice. But yeah, about the game, we kind of rocked up. The booth was before everyone was allowed in, so it was media time. So we sat down, played the game, and I feel like we both came out of our respective demos and were just like, this game is so good. Like, I just knew when you play a demo and you just know immediately, you're like, this is something really special. That I had that moment with Animal Well completely and utterly. Like, this game is, I mean, it doesn't do necessarily anything new, but it does what it does really well. Unlike that sentence. But that's just how much, like, I'm excited about this game. It felt pretty complete. I don't have a release date yet, but I was like, this game could come out next week and I think it'd be pretty great. In good condition, the build would be good. But yeah, the game was on a timer. The demo was on a timer for 10 minutes. So everyone like kind of explores at their own pace and can explore different aspects of the demo. So walking past the booth later, like looking at people and where they were within the demo, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Didn't see that aspect. Because a big part of Animal Well is you are this blob who has been kind of transported to the subterranean mystical land where there are these creatures who are kind of cute, but also some of them are kind of scary. There's definitely like a sense of like mythos to the world. It's very Hollow Knight in terms of the vibes of the atmosphere. And so, yeah, you're this blob who the inputs are very minimal. Like during the demo, we could like jump and that was it. Later on, we got like one power, which lets you kind of like release what would you say, Liam? It was like fire or rockets,
like a firecracker,
Yeah. But you're left to basically explore this area and just figure your way through this labyrinth maze where there are like hidden caverns and tunnels that you wouldn't necessarily think are there until you actively like move against a wall or like jump in a certain direction. You're like, oh wow, this is cool. And yeah, it was just great. It was a really amazing game, and I'm really happy that they've got big mode behind them, because I think the whole thing with like big mode and them choosing a game, I think there's a lot of pressure on the game that was going to be represented by big mode, like for whatever reasons, mainly those of Donkey and his channel and all that. But you know what? No worries. Animal Well is amazing. It's brilliant. So yeah, Liam, what did you think of it?
You know when you play a game and you just know that it's been made with a deft and precise hand. Like you every single pixel feels considered and placed with reason. 10 minutes with this game and you were just like, yeah, I get it. I get why this is a labor of love, and you found something here and you just polished it to a sheen. Like Rachel said, it felt complete. And you can tell that at a booth. You can tell when you sat down with a game kind of where it's at. And a lot of the time I feel like it shows when you're playing things that are maybe quite early in development. You've got to understand, like, we know how games are made. We know they're incredibly difficult. Sometimes you've got to like look past the jank slightly to kind of see the core of the thing. You didn't have to do that with this at all. It looked visually stunning. The graphics are all 2D pixel, but developer Billy has put in a load of modern sort of like lighting effects and stuff. So I think your like corner vision is based on where you are in the level. So like Rachel said, you might not be able to see hidden passageways and stuff until you're like right next to them, and like a character can physically see through them, or they're blocked by something. And when you're throwing like the firecrackers, they diffuse this smoke that moves through the tunnels realistically, even though you're looking at like what visually resembles a 16-bit game. And it's just so smart, and it feels like the kind of game where you're going to be able to play it repeatedly and find new things every time. And I do think it's being built purposefully for that kind of player. Very, very good. We played it on PS5. It looked gorgeous on an OLED screen. And Rachel played it on a Steam Deck, and it looked just as at home there as well. Yeah, this is one of those games where you pick it up and you're like, I wouldn't be surprised if come December, this is high on my list of games of the year. I know that's like a nothing thing to say when I haven't played it. I get that, but sometimes you play things like this and you just like, it feels special. It feels special.
It feels so good.
I get you completely. I think that it isn't too early to say if you've both come in with this reaction to it that was like, it is so polished and so gripping. And yeah, I do think that, sometimes you need to see a game to the end and sit with it for a while, and then you'll know how much you love it. But I think it is legitimate to say that like after 10 minutes, I was so in the world that I know I'm going to love it is also a really legit thing to say. Let the advent calendar guessing game start now.
Oh yeah,
also,
I forget people do that.
Oh shit, they do. Also, solo dev. He's making it on his own. Billy Basso. Shout out to Billy Basso, which is also
Billy Basso. Another great name.
Another great name.
Yeah. We interviewed him as well. You can find that on the supporters channel.
Yeah, you did a great chat with him. I really like that video.
He was so giving as an interviewer. I was like, the stuff he was saying, I was like, because he was like kind of facing the camera, and I'm just turned directly to like face, like side profile him, like, tell us more, Billy. Like, he was so interesting. Yeah.
Is it a requirement of solo indie dev that you have to have a really nice name?
Apparently so.
It seems to be.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Billy Basso and Andrew Quist.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah,
awesome.
good game.
That
was
again
definitely
doesn't
our
have a
game of the
release
show.
date. Yeah, it was our game of the show for sure. But
Very
no
nice.
release date on that yet. But yeah, wouldn't be surprised if it was soon. It felt really complete. Just the idea that they were giving players the opportunity to just explore how, like, as they liked.
Yeah.
Makes me feel that they're quite confident in the way that a game is, the shape it's in. So yeah, I'm with you, Liam, as well. I feel like it's potential game of the year. I just feel it if it's this year.
I mean, I was about to say like super telling that it's game of the show for you both, but if you're both looking at it as a potential game of the year already, that is intriguing, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a few already. That's definitely adding to the list, my list.
Very, very cool. Are we at the point where we have done PAX East show floor highlights?
Yes.
I think
Are we happy?
I think so.
I am. Thank you so much for telling me all that. It's like I was there. It's like I got to go.
There was this guy with a robot with an iPad on it, and I was like, let's get Rebecca up in here. Like,
oh yeah.
I'd love to
with
be
a
your
person
robot
on the
friend.
iPad.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We're gonna have to get you to a show.
Well,
Definitely.
Definitely. If people would like to see, I don't know, like an Indiescovery live show,
yeah.
just tell us, and then we can tell our bosses.
Please tell us.
And I can,
good point.
I can
If
lean
you-
on them to send
If
me
you
to
leave a
things.
comment that says verbatim, I love these three, and I would like to come see them live at EGX in October even.
October.
Sorry, shit. That's still verbatim, by the way. I want you to write September. Oh, wait, no, I mean October, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, we can send that to our bosses and be like, gotta do
Look
it.
at
Gotta put us on that
this.
stage.
Yeah.
Bit of live bullshit.
Unlock
what the
Rebecca's
people
guides
want.
cage. It's time.
Release.
Let us be feral in public, please.
Yes. It's like something out of Jurassic Park.
The water droplets. And there's just
Someone
us.
holding a can of Monster, and the monster.
That is pretty accurate to when we were at EGX last year and I saw a burrito stand, to be fair. I was like, it was all the way across the conference.
Terminator it.
And I was like, I'm going. I know it's like a 1/4 of a mile walk to this stupid burrito stand, but I want one so badly. I'm going.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. I had the worst bagel of my life at EGX last year. Just absolutely
what do you mean?
rancid. It was like a Reuben bagel, and Ed and I had the same one. And I did that thing as well where Ed was like, I don't know what to have. And I was like, you know what? Let's get a Reuben bagel. You follow me, kid. I'll get you a good lunch. And then it was just absolutely shite.
All right, well, definitely get burritos with me next time then, because the burrito is really good for for convention centre food. So
yeah, okay. We'll get
I want a burrito too.
I want a burrito now. Should I? Anyway.
Now sounds good.
Don't need to do my meal planning live on the podcast because we still we still have to do hyperfixations, assuming that you've had time to hyperfixate on anything in particular.
Oh, I have.
Yes.
There was a lot of enthusiasm from Liam there. I feel like we should start with Liam.
Yeah, wow, Liam, you're like bursting with hyperfixation energy. Whoa, calm down!
No! I want to talk about the game. Right, so I get back from... I've killed Rachel. For a few months, Alice B has been writing on the site about Power Wash Simulator. A game I played when it was like a free prototype demo years ago that I played. And I never touched it since. And every time Alice wrote about it, I was like, I need to try this out. I really need to try this game out. So I got it in the Steam sale just before we left for PAX and didn't touch it. And when I got back home, a friend of the podcast, Yolly's been away this week, so I came back to an empty house and I was absolutely exhausted. And I was waiting for my Domino's pizza to arrive, and I picked up my Steam Deck and I thought, you know what? Let's try out this game. That was Monday. We're on Friday now. I've played 8.5 hours of it.
Oh my
which
God.
for me is like a hell of a lot of time. That game just smooths my brain like nothing else I've ever played. It is like colouring in. It's like tidying up. It's like hoovering. It's just one of these things where you see chaos and it lets you bring order in a way that is smooth and satisfying. And those are the type of games I love. Weirdly, in my head, it sits in the same pocket as games like Vampire Survivors and Dynasty Warriors and Power Wash Simulator. They all let me look at chaos and find order within it. It is a beautiful game to half play. I've watched so many episodes of The Simpsons while playing it. I've watched so many episodes of like Resident Evil 4 reviews. What a game. A surprisingly deep and complete experience that I can see why it has overwhelmingly positive reviews. I understand why Alice is obsessed with like the lore, because I'm starting to see like it's incredible. Yeah. What a game. And right after this, Yolly's out again tonight. I'm going to put some dinner in the oven and I'm going to sit and play Power Wash Simulator until she gets home. I can't wait. Just what a game. What a thing to spend time with.
Oh man, have you power washed Lara Croft's Mansion yet? Because they're getting a lot of crossovers with other Square Enix.
Oh yeah, they've done that.
Square Enix.
Well,
they got Tomb Raider. They got Final Fantasy VII. I hope they do more.
I do as well.
Yeah, I will be honest. I've not played this game yet, but I've watched so many live streams of it.
Oh, have you?
I should actually play it because I was there. Like nice. I think a lot of people were like, what is the point of a game about chores? I'm not going to play a game about chores. I should go do my chores. And then I've watched hours of streams of it. And at that point, I might as well be playing it because I might as well get the Steam achievements and love the time. But yeah, it's great that it's the Square Enix one. The inappropriate joke that's been rattling around my head has been, are they going to do Life is Strange Arcadia Bay? Do you get to power wash Arcadia Bay after the storm? I'm not the only person who said it, so that I've got that going for me. But it's just, I can't get the thought out of my head. That's another Square Enix iconic franchise.
Oh my God.
That they could bring in, and it would be the worst thing you ever saw.
Well, I was going to make a joke about, like earlier today when I was thinking about this, I was like, I'm going to have to mention Life is Strange to Rebecca because it'd be really funny. I did not think you were going to pull out the after the disaster where loads of people died.
Well, how else could they do it? There's one big obvious elephant in the room. moment in Life is Strange.
How long would it take you to clean all of Arcadia Bay with just a single power washer?
So long.
Well, it took me 2 hours to clean a fucking kid's playground. God knows how long it'll take me to clean that.
Just an entire town that's been completely razed to the ground.
Oh my god. I hope they do more DLC. It was the Final Fantasy DLC that made me finally take the plunge and buy it. So
it does look so good.
What is it?
So good.
What is the thing you clean in that DLC?
In the Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
So I haven't played it yet, but I think it's a couple of levels, and I think you clean Seventh Heaven, you clean a Shinra, like Shinra? It's definitely not Shinra, is it? That's way too posh.
I have no idea.
Isn't it? I don't.
Is it Shinra? Is it? Oh,
Shinra.
I feel like the R is capitalized, which suggests Shinra.
Shinra.
You it's really tickled me. Yeah, you clean like a bunch of like the robots and the enemies
that's
in
cool.
a Shinra. And I think you also clean like one of the Mako plants, which again, quite funny.
Oh yeah.
Cloud's Life as well, I think, is in there.
Yes, I think so, yeah. But apparently when you're cleaning Seventh Heaven, like Tifa is just texting you and being like, oh god, sorry it's so messy in here.
Oh my god,
Actually,
that's
the
so
stream
funny.
I was watching the other day, they just got to that level when they had to end the stream. And yeah, it is. You look at that and you're like, all the way through, whenever I watch Power Wash Simulator, I'm like, what has happened in this place? Because it's like... It basically...
Horrible things.
If you got to the end and it was like, oh, this is Arcadia Bay after the storm, I wouldn't be surprised because the place is a flipping wreck. Like, it's just... How every surface is this coated in grime is a question for the ages. But when it's the interior of the bar and it's on the ceiling... and you're like, how is it on the ceiling?
In my headcanon, everyone in this little town where I live has just like had an epidemic of norovirus and everyone's just shit their brains out no matter where they were stood, just to like an explosive, horrific degree. And I'm just doing the worst job in the world. Like, oh god, yeah. Someone just sprayed shit all over their house.
Have you seen the Power Wash Simulator speedrunning?
No.
Oh my god, the one at GDQ where they there's a team of power washers and they broke the record during the stream. I think they cleaned the train in like 45 minutes, which is ridiculously fast. That steam train has all sorts of nooks and crannies that you need to like get right in there with. I'm just trying to find it now because it's definitely on YouTube somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was 45 minutes. I know that sounds like quite a long time for a speed run, but
I know how long it is.
Not Power Wash.
Yeah.
But I used to love watching the speed runs of people just absolutely obliterating the dirt from this like very grubby steam train. I'll definitely link it to you.
That sounds incredible. Yeah, please do.
It's really good.
Watch that straight away.
Sorry, I really thought that I'd gone as appalling as we were going to go with my whole cleaning up after the natural disaster of the storm, and then you talking about people just explosively shitting themselves in norovirus really gave me a run for my money on the worst thing we could say on the podcast.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make you two look better at every turn.
I was willing to just accept my role today as the worst person. But, oh dear. It's how can you not look at it and just think it? Like when they were like, oh,
yeah, these things are like impossibly dirty. Yeah.
What other big Square Enix franchises are there that we could power wash? Oh, Life is Strange is a big Square Enix franchise. Oh no. Oh no, but now it's in your head.
So funny.
Incredible.
Maybe I should go next on the old hyperfixations because actually it does tie in because as Rachel already knows, I have been reading the new Life is Strange novel that came out last week.
Yes.
Which has definitely been my hyperfixation for the last little while. They published the first prose tie-in, and you have to be very specific because there have already been like 6 volumes of the tie-in comics. So it's like the first prose tie-in novel came out last week, and I'm here like I used to read like a book practically every day, and then I got a job and got really into video games and it rotted my brain just like they said it would. And so I don't read nearly as much as I used to, but I still did absolutely devour this novel in about 5 days.
Whoa,
cool.
So
that's wild.
It's not super long, it's a 300 page, but I used like teenage Rebecca would have read it in a day, but the fact that I managed it in 5 days at this point in my life was quite something.
Hell
yeah. I think it's impressive, yeah.
So yeah, it's by Rosie Thor, who is a young adult author who's she's done a couple of other novels before this. She got commissioned to do the Life is Strange tie novel called Steph's Story, which is it is what it sounds like. It is the backstory of Steph, who is one of the recurring characters and very popular with the fandom. And Rachel already knows my thoughts on this quite well because I wrote a supporter post today that she edited. So
yes, it was very good.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm trying to like not just repeat my supporter post verbatim, but it's kind of hard because I spent so much of yesterday writing it that now I'm like, right, how do you break out of the patterns of what you've written to talk about something in a natural way? Because my takeaway from it was obviously I loved the book. I was really, really into it. I am a massive Life is Strange fan. Surprise, surprise. I really loved it. I recommend it to all the other massive Life is Strange fans, and I know they're out there. I know they're out there because I see them on Twitter
there
and on
dozens
Reddit.
Of us.
Dozens. It's a really nice. It is very fan servicey. It doesn't like when I heard they were doing a novel because I love lore. I was like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if there was a novel that like explained a bit more about the context of the world and why people are suddenly getting all these like superpowers and stuff. Mm-hmm. It really isn't that. It is a novel that bridges a gap in the canon that, honestly, with my critic hat on, didn't need to be bridged. Like,
oh, okay.
What happens in that span of time is, as a fan of the series who knows the timeline, you could pretty much work out what was going on in there. But it is just really well written, like as a character study, and it's something that I wouldn't necessarily expect from a video game tie-in novel, is to not focus on like a lot of plot, not focus on a lot of lore and development, so much as to just be like, okay, here's a bit of interiority for this character, and here is what led them to be who they were by the time, because Steph basically is one of the few characters who recurs across games in Life is Strange. She is in Before the Storm, which was the prequel that came out in 2017, the prequel to the first game, and she was in True Colours, which is the latest game that came out in 2021.
Right.
And so canonically, here is me with just knowing all the dates of everything that ever happened in Life is Strange in canon off the top of my head, because I'm such a nerd. That is like 2010, I think, and then the gap, and then it picks up again in 2018. So there's like quite a lot of her life that is off screen.
Interesting.
In the meantime of that, and so the novel is kind of about being like, okay, so you obviously see this person at two quite different times in their life, and here are the 2-3 years specifically leading up to the second part, and her relationships, her career, her experiences, what she's been going through at that point. And it did, to me at least, it worked really well, because there's a lot in True Colours that you can suss about Steph, because one of the things that I love about these games is that they convey character not by telling you who the character is, but by showing you who the character is. And the novel did the same thing, but really reinforced a lot of the same ideas. It didn't feel like it was contradicting anything, which I think is really important in this sort of thing, but it did feel like it was showing you more backstory of the same characteristics that then go on to make Steph who she is. And another thing I like about these games is that even the nicest character in the canon, which arguably Steph is flawed. And you get to understand those flaws more, and you kind of see, the history that has led her to be the way she is, that has led her to make some of the choices that she then makes in the game. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if that sounds like the sort of thing you'd be into, if in other words you are a massive Life is Strange nerd, then I hugely recommend this book. If you like just quite nicely written, quite easy read, like young adult, very LGBTQ, very sort of mental health aware fiction, it's also really good. If you were hoping to understand like why they all got cursed with awesome superpowers, then don't. But it doesn't tell you that at all. But and obviously I just absolutely devoured that book, and it's pretty much all I've been doing this week. So shout out to Life is Strange Steph's Story by Rosie Thor. That's Rosie with 2 E's as well, which I think is neat.
It sounds like they really got the tone and the vibe of the series totally spot on in the book.
It is dead on. It is so dead on.
Really?
Like the character voices for every character, because Some of the characters from the game turn up near the end as well. It's mostly just Steph and a bunch of original characters, but then characters from the game turn up. And like Rosie Thorne nails every voice as far as I'm concerned. I was like, this is... You can imagine them being just the same characters they are in the game. It doesn't feel like it was written by a different writer at all.
That's so impressive, isn't it? Like, as a skill to pick up an existing world and existing characters and
yes,
just slot them in. Yeah,
respect for people who do. I love a good tie-in novel. Like, they're hard to get right, but if you can get them right, like, fantastic. And this is definitely up there with the really, really good ones that I've read. Yeah,
what a cool recommendation.
That's great.
So I loved it, yeah obviously. And now that is enough of me babbling about Life is Strange for this episode. It's gone on for quite some time.
We love it.
But Rachel, we still need to hear from you.
Hello, mine is very quick. My hyperfixation are pins. We got some pins at PAX. Ooh. I bought some pins at PAX.
You did.
And I put all my pins together, and I have quite a lot of pins. So yeah, I'm just going to talk through just some of the pins I bought, all from Fangamer, because they seem to make the best gaming merch ever. I bought this Deucer from Hades pin, so it's just her little face. Someone,
cute,
right? A listener from our episode on Valentine's Day episode, they said that she was Ace. And I was like, hell yeah. So I didn't know that. And so, yes, I bought a pin in celebration of Deucer being great Ace representation. I also bought this Bug Snacks pin, which is a bunga, and it's on springs. And so when you shake it, it moves around. And then last one, my favorite is this like World of Horror pin, which is a schoolgirl with like a mask on.
Oh my
But what you
goodness.
can do is you can flip up the mask, and underneath is just like a void where her face should be.
It's
and it's
so good, that pin.
It's my
Don't you
favorite
say why.
one. Yeah, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about World of Horror. That was one of my picks if we had like a little bit more time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, very Junji Ito. This pin is so fucking cool. I'm scared to put it on anything because I do not want to lose it. So maybe I'm going to get a pin board and I'm just going to stick it on my pin board. But yeah.
That's such a nice idea.
I
Pinboard's
have lots
idea.
of pins.
I literally watched 2 days ago the episode of The Simpsons where Lisa gets really obsessed with Olympics pins and she's like made a dress out of them and a hat and stuff. And I really thought you were gonna come in with like a massive like huge tray collection like that.
Whoa,
I have
like
a
the
box
one that you just showed us.
Yeah, I got a box. But that's the thing. I don't want them just to be in this. I want to, like that guy, that guy from PAX who has the coat with all the pins on it. Oh my gosh, he was amazing.
He's amazing.
So maybe not that level, but I definitely want a pin board to stick all of these on.
That would be so cool.
I have an unpacking pin from last time, which is just a box, but it's just a cute box.
Oh, it's so good, that one.
And
it is
last
so
one,
recognisably the unpacking box, though.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And then I just have some really cute pins in here that I don't want them to get scratched or anything. So yeah. That was literally what I was going to mention. Mm-hmm. Where is it? I have too many. Oh, actually, you like The Simpsons. Both of you, don't you?
Yeah.
It's Patty and Selma.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's Patty and Selma in bikinis, is that what it is?
Yeah, they're supposed to be like goddesses. So they've got the seashell.
That's funny. I like it.
Yeah. And I have a
seashell bras.
Yes. I don't know what I was going to say. And then I have a Mr. Burns one of him with the rotary phone.
Oh, that's so funny. He says, call me. That's so funny.
But I have a bunch of pins. Yeah.
We've gotten quite obsessed with Penny Arcade since we've been at PAX. If you'd like to find out more about Penny Arcade, there's a small documentary on Rock Paper Shotgun's YouTube channel you can find. I've ended up with like 20 pins now, just from 3 PAXs, just through osmosis. I just come home every time with more pins.
See, you gotta get a board like me.
I'm gonna have to get a board. But yeah, Penny Arcade absolutely rules. That's a great hyperfixation and one I understand.
I just love pins now. I want to buy more pins. Fangamer have amazing pins. They've got a Hypnospace Outlaw Enforcer pin. And
do they?
And when I got home and I looked at the website because I was like, because I went to the Fangamer booth to buy all these. Came home, looked on the website, saw they had a Hidden Space Enforcer pin, and kicked myself so badly that I was literally there. And it's only in the US store. It's not in the EU one.
Oh, but, it's the badge as well.
Yeah, it's like the official badge. And I was like, God damn it, I should have bought one.
Oh, I really wish I'd known that and I would have got one as well.
Right?
Fangamer.
For
Bloody
God's sake.
friend of the podcast, Fangamer.
Yes. I could go through all my pins, but that's, maybe another episode. Also, this noise. Oh,
Discord
my pins,
is
baby.
That isn't coming through on Discord, but I bet it's going to sound great.
I can't wait to hear it in the edit.
Yeah.
I'm scared to shake the box louder. They just fly everywhere.
Oh, yeah. We damaged them.
Yeah. Oh, I love them so much.
I am going to say then we should definitely do our the show that we talked about on our favourite video game merch, or at least make it a section at some point, because I know...
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
I was showing you guys my plushies 2 days ago.
Oh, yeah, you were. Yeah.
I was just holding up my plushies to the camera like, look at my children.
Dream Daddy pin. I'm so...
Oh, that rules. You have great pins. What the hell?
Good.
But yeah, we need to do... I agree. I want to show off all my plushies as well. We need to do... something with
maybe
video,
that'll be our first...
I was about to say, that's
maybe that'll be our first
audio, now
video
that I think about
podcast. Yeah. Be a special episode that's video only.
I like it. I like that as an idea.
I mean, the episodes are on YouTube now. Liam has chucked them on YouTube, haven't you?
Yes, very true. So we could do
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
People have asked for a video episode so they can tell when it's me or Rachel talking, because apparently our accents are quite similar. We're from completely different parts of the country, but I get
we
it.
are.
I probably would. I struggle with American accents that apparently people are like, well, I'm from California and he's from Ohio. How can you not tell us apart? And it's like, because I don't know California from Ohio. So I wouldn't expect you to know Cardiff from Leicester. Like,
I mean, if I definitely had more of like a Welsh accent, it'd be much easier. But I've not lived in Wales for many years, and so it all got beaten out of me by the English.
One of our many crimes. I'm so sorry. Yes, I have considered asking you to like Welsh it up a bit so that we can.
Do you really want me to Welsh it up? Because I can put the accent on.
You go for it. Whatever you're comfortable with. This is just
no, because if I really did my
weird
Welsh accent, you guys would get sick of it in about 5 minutes. You know.
Oh my god! Wow.
Jokes on you. I love it.
If
I was about to say same.
If I spoke like this the whole time, like I couldn't. I'd have to watch like if I was to proper do it, I'd watch a season of Gavin and Stacey and then come back on the podcast and then I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
Gavin and Stacey. Oh, I love that TV show. I do. Oh, it's my favourite.
Oh,
I'm from Cardiff, Barry Island.
Slipped so naturally into that.
I have specific nostalgia for that accent because of the amount of Welsh TV shows I was watching in like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I have to speak to one tradesperson and then my Geordie accent comes out. Yoli always laughs at me. If I speak to like a bloke, for some reason I just like naturally ramp up the Geordie accent. I'm like, why I mate? I can he that like I nah champion. Cheers, buddy. Thanks.
I'm a little embarrassed now because I can't even do a sustained Erewash Valley accent because it's just
really?
I never had one. So
fair. That's fair.
And it is completely incomprehensible, to be fair. But have you
really
watched,
confuse our American listeners.
Have you ever watched Misfits?
Yes.
You know the blonde girl from Misfits?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that accent is close to what my natural accent would be if I had not weirdly ended up without.
Wait, with the ponytail?
Yeah, the ponytail.
The chav?
Yes. Yeah.
How interesting.
Yeah.
She's iconic.
She is. The
So
iconic Derbyshire chav is the one of the few people on TV with my regional accent, but I just don't really have a strong accent. So and I find it hard to do for more than a few words. So yeah.
Love
Misfits. Yeah, now that I think about it, this can't be allowed. You can't both have great accents and I just sound sort of very generic East Midlands-y.
To be fair, though, it is quite difficult for me. I normally have to have a pint or two or get kind of annoyed or angry about something and I slip into it occasionally. But the thing is, Americans can hear it more in my voice than people from the UK can. The number of Americans that have been like, oh, you've got a bit of like a Welsh twang about you. I'm like, How?
Interesting.
It's buried underneath years of not being like, yeah. I guess it's because I don't know, to be honest, but it's good ears because it is buried there deeply, but it is there.
That is impressive considering 2 Americans in Boston thought I was Irish.
Oh, yes, they did.
That's super specific because, like, I didn't know you were Welsh when we met, and I hear it now that I know to listen for it, but I didn't know until you told me. And well done. Well done to the Americans who can tune into that Welsh accent.
Yeah, well done,
That's the funny
Americans.
thing about Wales as well, though, because I'm
like
from
that,
Cardiff.
Condescendingly.
Yes.
It's very late.
But, like, because I'm from Cardiff, if you're from Cardiff, Welsh people who aren't from Cardiff say you're not Welsh if you're from Cardiff because it's so, No one I knew growing up had, like, the accent, like, the Valleys accent, like, no one. So, yeah, you're not really Welsh. I am, I swear.
Is that like when the Scots say that Edinburgh is technically part of England?
Yes.
Because of how posh it is.
Mm-hmm. Same thing.
To be fair, like, everyone I know who's not from London but is from England would pretty much be like, London is its own thing.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think we just don't like our capitals. I think we're just like, no.
No, very true. Yeah.
Sniffy about it.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, this has been delightful.
It's gone all over the place, this, hasn't it?
It's gone
It's
to a
been
lot of
great.
places. It has gone 45 minutes over the time we were all meant to go home and get some sleep. So,
God, it's 5:45 p.m. My
is.
God, wow.
It is. I was
Well
having so
done,
much
gang.
fun. I didn't know if I should stop us or what. But
It's always fun.
it's been great.
It's always fun.
It has been so great. And like this is where my brain is at. I was like, okay, time to start. I'm like, I should probably do the outro and then stop.
Oh, yes.
Rather than just stop the episode.
Take us home.
So, thank you as always for listening to Indiescovery. We really appreciate your time and all the kind feedback we've had so far. If you'd like to rate and review us on your podcast provider of choice, that would be lovely and a great way to help out the pod. Meanwhile, if you'd like to leave a comment, you can do so over on rockpapershotgun.com, on the RPS Discord server, or by emailing us directly at podcast@rockpapershotgun.com. And if the words podcast or rock or paper or shotgun ever meant anything, they certainly don't now that I've said it all so very, very much. You can also find us over on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and good old TikTok. Yay, TikTok.
Boo.
So, until next time, it's goodbye from me, Liam, and Rachel.
Bye.
Bye.